Hey everyone, getting back to you. I know in my last video I said I was probably gonna make another video in about a week. I lied. It's been 3 weeks. So today is Monday, May 6th, 2013, and it is exactly 4 weeks today since I had my ostomy takedown, and 4 weeks, 2 days under 4 weeks that I've been using my Jpouch. And things are still going very well. Still very happy with the way things are progressing. I wouldn't say things are going slow. I mean, 4 weeks after having the surgery, I think isn't too bad, and I'm still noticing improvements every day as things go on. So still very happy with everything. So I want to catch you up on how things are going, what I've been experiencing with the Jpouch. Again, my little caveat to friends and family who just are kind of checking in with the videos to see how I'm doing. Sometimes I'm going to get pretty descriptive for those people out there who might be watching this who are going to have this procedure done or are thinking about having it done, or are just curious about what happens afterwards. I think the more descriptive I am for them, the better it is. So let's start from the top. I wrote a bunch of stuff down so I make sure I cover it all. First of all, right now I'm going to the bathroom probably 8 to 9 times in a 24-hour period. Probably 2 of those times is at nighttime. And one of those times is kind of what I call on demand, meaning like if I'm going to go to the gym, I'll just go to the bathroom before I go to the gym. Just because it's easier to work out, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that, but it's easier to work out immediately after I've gone to the bathroom. And I kind of liken it to when you were little and you went places with your parents, and before you left that place, your parents would always go and make sure you go to the bathroom before you go, and you'd always be like, I don't have to go to the bathroom. If I had to go, I'd go, but they'd make you go in the bathroom and make sure that you took care of everything. Now, because of the Jpouch, pretty much anytime you go to sit down in the toilet, you could go to the bathroom technically, because just like when you had your bag, there was always something coming out unless you hadn't eaten in a long time or something like that. So now pretty much anytime you want to go to the bathroom, you can sit down and go to the bathroom, which I guess is kind of a good thing because you can kind of control things as you go. So like I said, 8 to 9 times a day within a 24-hour period. I'd say probably closer to 8. That 9th time, like I said, is kind of on demand for me. And then 1 to 2 of those times, probably 2, is during the nighttime. So not too bad. Like I said, it's not, the daytime definitely isn't interfering with my life or functioning. The nighttime ones, and I'll describe those a little bit more in detail in a bit. Just sometimes I feel like I'm not getting enough sleep, but I'm able to take naps during the day. So it's just that I'm not getting a big 6 or 8 hour chunk of sleep at one time. The consistency, right now, I would say 90 to 95% of the time, it's what I call formed pieces. And again, this is where I'm going to get a little descriptive, but formed pieces that don't dissolve, they stay pretty solid, sink to the bottom. You can see them in the toilet. There's no extra liquid or anything when you're done. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll get soft floater pieces, and other times it'll be a little bit more toothpaste consistency or little pebbles, if you will, that once they hit the water, they dissolve, and it just kind of looks like sand or sawdust on the bottom. But for the most part, I would say that they're formed. I pretty much have stopped using the Camoceptin. Very occasionally at nighttime, I'll get a little itching right around the anus, and I think sometimes because I feel like I'm pushing a little bit to try and empty the pouch. So just very rarely am I using the Camo, and like I said, it's just a little bit right around the anus. But I do go a little bit between using the Camoceptin and Vaseline, because I'm not always using the Camoceptin. So that pretty much I've stopped using that because it gets a little messy sometimes. It's great. I mean, it works perfectly, but you know, if you're going out and you don't want that all caked in between your butt cheeks, and then, you know, if you sweat or anything, it gets soft and it can get in your underwear and things like that. So I'm glad to pretty much be done with that. I do still use that travel bidet when I'm at home all the time, and I think this really has saved my backside because I'm not really having to wipe. That pretty much takes care of all the residue, and then it's just dabbing the water off. But granted, I'm still off work right now, so I can still use the bidet. I'm not going to take it to work when I go back, so I'll get a little bit better idea of how that's going to go at work. But that'll be at 6 weeks, so hopefully my frequency will still be even down a little more. As far as medications or drugs that I'm still on, I'm not on any per se prescription meds. I am taking Imodium. I'm varying anywhere between 4 to 6. I did go up to 8 a couple days, and things seemed to thicken up really quick and slow down, but then I started to feel a little bit almost constipated. So that's why I back things down. I definitely take 2 before bed, and now I'm playing with the rest because I'd like to not have to use the Imodium. But I also realize there's a lot of changes happening right now. I'm still only 4 weeks out. So I want the body to adjust on its own, but I'm using the Imodium to help with that transition too. So I'm constantly changing that. And that's another big thing with this Jpouch. There is no prescription for everybody. Everybody has their own experience. I know some people don't have to use Imodium at all. Some people have to use Imodium consistently. Some people just use Imodium. My nurse said, like, if they're going to go on a long hike or fishing and they're not going to be around a toilet, they'll take a couple of Imodium before they go because that'll slow everything down to where they could get like maybe a 6 or 8 hour time frame where they don't have to use the bathroom. So it's really about just listening to your own body and adjusting things as you go. So that's the Imodium. I do take a multivitamin. I also take vitamin D3. I do take fish oil. And then I also started the probiotic called VSL number 3. And this is VSL number 3 DS. The DS is for double strength. I was taking the VSL probiotic a couple years back in a capsule form, but it didn't say DS. And I have the packets now that you mix with applesauce or yogurt or ice cream, things like that. But it says right on it for ulcerative colitis and ileoanal pouch. So the capsules before didn't say that. So that might be just unique to this VSL number 3 DS. And it is a prescription probiotic, so your doctor has to call that in. But they have found, especially for those with the liver disease, that the VSL can help reduce the frequency of pouchitis or prevent you from getting pouchitis. So they've already started me on that, so here's to hoping that that will work and I won't have any issues with pouchitis. Also, you read different things and you hear different things about once you have your colon removed, vitamin deficiencies and things like that. Some people say, there's nothing absorbed in the colon, so it's not an issue. It can be for some people, especially because, you know, as you get closer to the colon, part of the small intestine is what I would call transitional. You know, it's transitioning into colon tissue. So it depends on exactly what point of the small intestine you get a lot of your vitamin absorption. Now, from what I've read and what I've heard, the B vitamins tend to be absorbed closer to the end of the small intestine. And then I guess you can have some issues with absorption of iron. So my nurse did say they will monitor at least either every 6 months or every year. They'll monitor for B vitamin deficiencies and iron deficiencies and things like that. And I'll be having my labs drawn every 6 months anyways for my liver enzymes to monitor that. So that's just something to kind of be aware of that you might want to have monitored. Now let's talk about the only part of this that I wouldn't say it's even frustrating right now. It's just it's the worst part of all this adjustment right now is the loss of stool at night. It's been 4 weeks. I still am having accidents every night. I think there was one night, it was on my last video, I had one night that I went without any accidents, but I was up like every 2 hours to go to the bathroom, and that's probably why I didn't have an accident. Other than that, I've had an accident, at least one every night. It was 2 early on. Now it's down to 1. The amount that I'm leaking is much less, but it is still a loss of stool. It is much thicker, so it's easier, if you will, a little bit cleaner. It's always been contained in the depends. It's not like I'm messing the bed or anything like that. But it isn't just a couple drops of wetness. It's pretty much getting consistent now where it's down to 1. And I'm getting up, like I said, about twice a night. If I feel like I have to go to the bathroom and there hasn't been any loss of stool, I'll go. But if I don't feel like I have to go, I don't force it, because I kind of feel like if I force myself to go, I'm kind of already starting that process of pushing stool through, and it's kind of calmed down for the night. So sometimes I'm not sure if that actually lends itself to having an accident later on. It seems to be around 3, 4, 5 in the morning is when it happens. And I've been going to bed about 11, and I'll go to the bathroom right before I go to bed. So that seems to be about the time that it occurs. I have tried the don't eat after 6 or 7 for the most part. Doesn't really seem to make a difference. Last night I ate at like 9:30, and it didn't seem to have any effect on it. I have been taking 2 Imodium before bed. That might be helping thicken things up, and sometimes I think the thicker it is, the less chance or the less stool that will come through. Just because the thinner it is, the easier it is to leak out. I have been doing the Kegel exercises where I'm actually tightening that muscle that you use to stop the flow of urine, your pelvic floor muscles. And I will continue to do those because I do think that they really, really help. And like I said, I'm still noticing a general trend towards improvement, so I'm not getting frustrated by it. I know things are changing. This was a major surgery. The body has to adjust. I was told, that this could happen. I know from what they did in the surgery that the muscles are traumatized and stretched and things. So, not frustrated yet. I just want you to know that this, where this could be frustrating if you let it get to you, which leads me into another thing I was going to talk about is, especially when I call it rehabbing, when you're adjusting to this, don't be too focused on, oh my God, I'm still going 10 times a day, or oh my God, I'm still getting a lot of gas, or oh, I'm still pooping my pants at night. You have to be very gentle with yourself, especially right now. Your body is constantly adjusting to all of these things. And my nurse said there could be changes up to like 8 or 9 months. So let the changes happen, let your body adjust. Don't set yourself into a mode of, oh my God, is this what it's going to be like for the rest of my life? Don't do that to yourself initially. Let yourself adjust to it. Just kind of go into sort of trying to live your life, get back to do some other things, so you're just not so focused on this, because that in itself could be frustrating. And it's not easy all the time. I mean, there's been a couple of days where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, can I just have one night where I sleep and I don't poop my pants? Just one night. Because sometimes, all the time, I mean, it's a pain, but if it's a little bit more messy than usual, you gotta clean and everything else, and by then you're awake, and but you'll get through it, I'll get through it. We're not at our final point yet. So, like I said, I do use the Depends at night. I haven't really been using, I was putting panty liners in underwear for if I go out. Occasionally I'll do that. I have noticed if I've been out for a while, like literally like just a drop of wetness on the liner. It wasn't a loss of stool or anything. And that seems to be if it's getting closer to the time when I need to go to the bathroom, but I've been trying to hold it. But I haven't had any loss of stool during the day, and I have good control and sensation with that. So I feel comfortable with that. I don't sleep on a Chucks anymore. I just wear the Depends because, like I said, everything's been staying in the Depends. I want to talk a little bit about this sensation, urges, and I'm kind of steering away from using the word urges because if you've had colitis and you hear the term urge, it makes you feel like urgent, as opposed to urge meaning I have the urge to go to the bathroom, but I don't urgently have to go. So I'm more using the word sensation, the sensation that you have to go to the bathroom. All those muscles and nerve endings in your anal cuff are active, and they help let you know when you need to go to the bathroom, when you need to pass gas, if the stool is going to be liquid or more formed. And because of the Jpouch, your stool is sitting right there, and your body has to adjust now to the feeling of stool always being there, and then start to mesh with, well, stool's always there, but I don't always have to empty it. So, where's that threshold of how much stool can I have in the pouch to fire those nerves enough that it makes you actually go to the bathroom. And so that's a long adjustment. But the good thing is, like I said in the first video, you get the sensation that you have to go. You just tighten those pelvic floor muscles, and it's almost an automatic response, like someone who has an intact colon and digestive system. 3 to 5 seconds, and then it passes. The urge is gone, and you move on. It's nothing like the colitis where you'd have the urge and it wouldn't go away. You had to get to a bathroom or you were going to lose control. And of course, the longer it's been since you've gone to the bathroom last, those urges can get a little bit more intense, so you have to contract the muscles a little tighter. And that's kind of how you know that you need to go. As far as gas goes, I haven't had too much gas. Occasionally I bought some Gas X extra strength that I take, and that seems to help. But if I do have a lot of gas, it does cause me to go to the bathroom more, because right now I can't pass gas separate from anything else. And the nurse said sometimes people are able to progress to the point where they can pass gas, and sometimes people aren't. So right now I'm sure it's just too fresh and new. But I'm sure the more formed your stool is, the easier it would be to pass gas. The problem is probably going to be the positioning. I don't know, like, if I could stand and pass gas. I don't really know how all that works, and I'm sure I'll figure that out as the time goes. But the point I'm trying to make is if you do have gas, the sensations cause you to go a little bit more often. So another thing I found that is very, very helpful is I keep a daily log. I'll probably get away from this eventually, but right now, every day on a piece of paper, I keep a track of when I wake up, what time I go to bed. I keep track of what time I go to the bathroom. So at the end of the day, I can count how many within a 24-hour period. And I go midnight to midnight, basically. And the time that I went to the bathroom, and then the consistency, what it was like. And then I also keep track of the time when I took my Imodium and how many I took. And then also the time I ate and what I ate. So if I'm finding, it was very gassy at 8 o'clock, and I went to the bathroom at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I can try and go back and look at my food log and go, I had oatmeal that day, and maybe that's what it is. So it just helps correlate some things. And your foods are going to continue to change. Right now I'm on the low residue diet, at least for 6 weeks. And then you can start introducing foods, but you really do have to introduce them slowly so you can see how they're going to affect you, because some you might be gassy from, some you might not. It's not necessarily going to be the way it was before. I've noticed even When I had the ostomy bag, I ate oatmeal to thicken things up, and a couple weeks ago I tried oatmeal and it made me very gassy. It didn't make me gassy before. So is that just because it was too new, too much of a fibrous food to introduce now, and I'll be able to eat it in a few weeks, or am I not going to be able to eat it at all because of the gas? So that's going to be a learning process too. The other big thing with this is you don't have to worry. I haven't worried at all. I guess I should say probably don't have to worry as much about the water intake to food ratio like you did with the ostomy, especially with the loop ileostomy. I'm drinking pretty freely, and knock on wood, not having any issues with anything. So that's just nice because I'm a water drinker and I like to just take gulps of water, and it's nice to have that fixed since the last time. I am also back to working out at the gym. I'm not lifting because I can't lift anything over 10 pounds for at least 6 weeks, and I'm adhering strictly to that. The last thing I want to do is have any reason for this not to work well. So I am back to the gym though. I'm back to gentle running and jogging. I have noticed though, the running and jogging does tend to increase those urges that you need to go to the bathroom. Although the more you train, your body seems to accommodate to that. But you're able to hold it, while you're working out. And I've also noticed, like, if I work out in the morning, I don't really get those sensations because there's not a whole lot of food. My breakfast hasn't really gone through me yet, and there hasn't been anything all night. So I just wanted to let you know about that. I think I had told you before, it is normal sometimes, I guess, people that have a Jpouch, if they're frequently running, there can be a little bit of blood in your stool after you run, and they're not exactly sure why, but it's a common report, and it doesn't really mean anything. There haven't been any issues related to it. I've also started some gentle abdominal exercises to get things back in shape. I can honestly and freely admit that I am vain. I'm 41 years old, and I worked pretty consistently and hard at the gym before all this. And somebody actually emailed me from England, which was very cool to hear his story. But he was also into mixed martial arts and working out and things like that. And we had chatted a little bit about the vanity aspect. And I know, all things considered, that's like the least, the lowest issue on the totem pole, if you will. But for some people, like me, like him, it is an issue. You work hard to get your body where you want it, if you happen to be that type of individual. And to have things change now, it's an adjustment. So I did start back to some abdominal exercises. Again, not pushing myself, but listening to your body. I know if I'm straining that area a little too much. It is only 4 weeks, so I'm taking it easy, but I really want to wake those muscles up, especially on the side where I had the ostomy, where the small intestine was coming through the abdominal wall, those muscles. And also I've been doing a lot of stretching where I'm laying on my stomach and then pushing up on my arms and arching my back, trying to stretch my lower abdominal area to help with breaking down scar tissue formation and adhesions in there. And then also doing some massage around the scar, because that area is still kind of puffy and swollen. So I think that's it related to the working out. Yesterday, there's a class on Sundays at the gym I go to, and it's called Hot Bod. The reason it's called that is because it's an overall body workout. You do cardio, you do arm workout, you do chest workout, you do leg workout. So it's all in one 60-minute class. And I went back yesterday and took the class. There was about 5 to 10 minutes of it where I kind of just walked around while they were doing some stuff. And of course, the abdominal exercises, I wasn't doing them at the level they were at. I was modifying them to where I could currently perform. But I became a little emotional during the class, just knowing that I'm almost back to the fitness level that I was, or at least I'm starting back at that route, and I don't have to worry about being knocked down for another 6 weeks coming up, knowing that I can just continue to improve and progress back to the way I was before. And again, that ties into what I was saying earlier. It's a long process, and you got to keep focused on all the things that you're getting back to normal, what's normal for you. Like I said, the drinking of water without having to worry about food so much, getting back to the gym, not needing to rush to the bathroom when you're out, when you feel that you have to go, finding all those small little improvements. I'm going to show you my incision at the end, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Overall, like I said, don't be too focused on things early on. Just let things happen and adjust. But I'm still happy with the choice. Wouldn't have changed anything at all. And I've heard, like I said, there was a gentleman from England who emailed me, which was phenomenal. It's hard to believe. I started these videos kind of more for me, and then I'm finding that they really are reaching some people out there who, in all different versions, are going through some of what I went through, all of what I went through, a version of what I went through. And there's that common bond between all of us. And as much as your family and friends want to help and support you, which we all need, sometimes you find that you really just want to be able to talk to someone who knows exactly what you're going through, who can answer those exact questions. You can ask the weird questions about real specific things. I had one gentleman call me from North Carolina who had an emergency colectomy. His rectum is still intact, but now they think he has, it was from colitis, if I'm remembering the story correctly, but now they think he has Crohn's colitis, and in 5 weeks he has to make the decision of, is he going to try the Jpouch, which he has a 50-50 chance of it working because he does have that Crohn's aspect. So, and the Jpouch doesn't tend to work for Crohn's people because the pouch can become infected with Crohn's. But there's a 50-50 chance, his doctors told him, that it could work. So he's trying to make that decision. Do I have the Jpouch performed and then find out it won't work and have to go through all this, or have a functioning Jpouch? Or do I just decide to have the rectum removed and everything sewn up down there and just have a permanent ostomy? And it's not an easy choice. It was just nice to be able to talk with him and share my experience to help him make a little bit more of an informed decision that way. So thank you so much for those of you who are emailing me, who are experiencing this and telling me your story. It's really, really great to hear from you. And as always, if anyone has questions about anything, don't be shy about any specifics. There's so many things involved in this whole process, and little specific questions that you think, oh, I don't really want to ask people that. Go ahead and ask away. It's nothing's too embarrassing at this point. I mean, I have like 25 adjectives to describe my poop, really. Like I said, there's not too much out there that's going to embarrass us when you're going through it. So again, my email is ucandpsc@gmail.com. So I'm going to show you my incision. The staples are gone. The incision's healed really well. I've developed around the incision what looks like to be a yeast infection, and I kind of think I had a little bit of it when I had the ostomy. The skin was discolored, and I think that was from after I was using the convex flanges from pushing the skin in. It sort of darkened that skin, and I think as things heal, that skin will flake off and the skin color will come back. but it started to get really itchy, and I called my ostomy nurse, showed her some pictures. She said it looks like a yeast infection, so she had me start some cream on it, and it is clearing up, but it's still flaky, and it is still discolored, so you're going to see that, but it's not related to the incision. The incision is healing very well, so just bear with me while we adjust the camera and things here. Okay, yeah. So let me zoom in. I'm trying to squat a little bit. There's a little scab left in there. The rest of it is just discolored, but the incision itself is healed, and I think there's a little less swelling than last time we checked. I'm not really sure, but there's this, you know, I had this when I bend, that's where my crease is. This is just, I hope this is just swelling because I'd like it to go down. I don't know if it's the way that things are reconfigured in there now, that it's a little, what I call poochy in there, but like I said, it's only 4 weeks, and I'm not too concerned about it right now. So that's it for now. I'm probably going to be making these videos less frequently, unless there's some big significant change going on. I might go monthly, so the next time would be 8 weeks and then 12 weeks and things like that, or if I've had a doctor's appointment. But if anyone out there, if you ever have questions or haven't heard from me and are wondering how things are going and I haven't made a video, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll get back to you. That's not a problem at all. So I think that's it for now. Thanks, as always, for following my story, and we will probably be chatting in another 4 weeks. Okay, bye-bye.